My name is Edward Miller. I'm a 71-year-old retired postal worker from Indiana. A man who spent his entire life waking up before sunrise, sorting mail, greeting strangers like friends, and saving every spare dollar so that when I finally reached old age, I wouldn't have to depend on anyone. I always believed that retirement would be peaceful, simple, and dignified. But life has a way of surprising you, sometimes gently, sometimes brutally, and in my case, the storm arrived quietly the day my daughter-in-law, Samantha, walked into my room with a sugary smile that didn't reach her eyes, asking, "Dad, can I borrow your pension card? I just need to check something for you." And because I trusted her, because I trusted family, I handed it over without hesitation, unaware that this tiny moment would unravel into one of the biggest betrayals of my life. At first, nothing seemed strange, but over the next week, I noticed little things: Samantha suddenly acting overly sweet, offering to handle my bills, telling me not to worry about grocery shopping because she would take care of it. And while part of me appreciated the help, the other part, the part that had navigated life through instinct and careful observation, knew something wasn't right. Especially when the mailman delivered an envelope from the bank with a statement showing large transactions I didn't recognize, clothing stores, beauty salons, online shopping sites, even a spa. I stared at the paper with disbelief, thinking maybe it was a mistake. But when I looked for my pension card, the reality hit me: Samantha still had it, and she wasn't checking anything. She was spending my retirement money like it was pocket change. I waited until evening and gently asked her, "Sam, can I have my pension card back?" And the way her face hardened, the way her voice shifted from polite to annoyed, told me everything. She didn't intend to return it. She crossed her arms, shrugged casually, and said, "Edward, you don't need to stress about money. I'm helping you manage it," as if she had been appointed my guardian without my knowledge. And when I insisted, she snapped, "You should be grateful someone is taking responsibility, because you clearly can't." And those words cut deeper than she realized. Because I had lived my entire life independently, paid every bill, handled every crisis, survived every hardship without needing anyone to manage me. My son Michael, who once used to defend me fiercely, just stood there awkwardly, scratching his head, mumbling something about not wanting to get involved. And seeing him stand silently beside her while she talked to me like a child broke something inside me. But I didn't argue. I've lived long enough to know that arguing with the wrong people is like screaming into the wind. Instead, I waited, quietly observing, letting her believe she had full control. For days, she continued using my pension funds freely, flaunting new clothes, expensive perfumes, and online shopping packages that filled the entryway. She even bragged to her friends on speakerphone, saying, "Old people don't need money. They just sit at home," laughing loudly, as if my years of sacrifice were a joke. But she didn't know the truth. She didn't know that after 40 years working in the Postal Service, I had built strong relationships with every bank manager, teller, and supervisor in town. She didn't know I visited that bank every month for 15 years like clockwork, always greeting the staff by name, always bringing them holiday cookies and small kindnesses. She didn't know my financial life wasn't just digits on a screen. It was tied to people who respected me. And she certainly didn't expect the bank manager to call me the moment he noticed the unusual withdrawals. It happened on a quiet Wednesday morning. My phone buzzed, and when I answered, I heard the familiar voice of Mr. Peterson, the branch manager, saying, "Edward, sir, we've noticed some unusual spending on your pension account. Are these charges yours?" And before I could respond, he added gently, "If you're in any kind of trouble, you can tell me." And hearing that sincerity after weeks of disrespect almost brought tears to my eyes. I explained everything in a low voice: how Samantha had taken my card, how I felt trapped in my own home, how I didn't know how far she had gone. And Mr. Peterson went quiet for a moment before saying firmly, "Come to the bank today. We'll handle this privately." And those words were like water to a man dying of thirst. I didn't tell Samantha where I was going. I simply put on my coat and walked out. At the bank, I was greeted immediately, ushered into an office, and treated not like a confused old man, but like a valued customer whose dignity mattered. They printed detailed statements, highlighted every unauthorized transaction, and helped me freeze the account, replace the card, and set up fraud protection alerts. Then Mr. Peterson leaned forward and said, "Edward, if someone in your household is exploiting you, we can get legal assistance." And for the first time in weeks, I felt safe, protected, and seen. I returned home quietly, slipped the new card into my wallet, and waited for the storm I knew was coming. Sure enough, the next morning, Samantha barged into my room, waving her phone and yelling, "Why isn't your card working? I need to buy groceries." Not my groceries, of course, but hers, her spa visits, her shopping bags. I looked at her calmly and said, "Because it's no longer your card to use," and the shock on her face was priceless. She sputtered excuses, played the victim, accused me of misunderstanding her intentions, but when she realized I wasn't buying any of it, her mask slipped completely. She started shouting that I was ungrateful, senile, a burden, and that she had been managing my finances out of kindness. That's when my son walked in, asking what was happening, and Samantha immediately spun a dramatic lie, claiming I had changed the account behind her back and put the family at risk. But before her manipulative performance could continue, my phone rang loudly. I put it on speaker, and Mr. Peterson's professional voice filled the room. "Mr. Miller, this is a courtesy call to confirm that your new pension card is active. And also, per your request, unauthorized users have been permanently blocked from the account." And Samantha's face drained of color completely. She stuttered, "Wait, unauthorized? Blocked?" And Mr. Peterson continued, unaware of the chaos unfolding, "Yes, sir. And don't worry, we've added extra protection. No one except you can access your funds anymore." And his calm tone was the hammer that smashed her entire scheme. When the call ended, I looked at her and said softly, "You took advantage of my trust, Sam. That ends today." And she exploded in rage, shouting that I was ruining her life, destroying the family, and embarrassing her. But Michael, quiet Michael finally stepped forward and asked her, "Sam, did you really take Dad's card without permission?" And she froze. The silence answered for her. Michael's face hardened in a way I'd never seen. Years of love, loyalty, and patience drained away as he realized the truth. He told her, "You stole from him. You lied. You used him." And Samantha tried to blame stress, blame loneliness, blame motherhood, blame anything except her own greed, but nothing worked anymore. Michael took my side firmly, telling her, "You had no right." And for the first time, she looked afraid not of me, but of losing control. That afternoon, Michael apologized to me over and over, saying he should have asked more questions, should have stopped her sooner, should have listened to his instincts. And though I told him I forgave him, part of me knew this experience had shaken him deeply. Samantha spent the entire evening sulking, slamming cabinets, and whispering angrily on the phone to her mother. But none of it mattered. The power was gone, the access was gone, the control was gone. 2 days later, Michael told me he had asked Samantha to leave for a while until she could reflect on her behavior. And though she made a dramatic exit crying, throwing accusations, calling me ungrateful, the house felt lighter the moment she walked out. Michael and I sat on the couch, talking honestly for the first time in years, and he promised, "Dad, I'll never let anyone treat you like that again." And hearing those words brought a quiet warmth to my heart. Now, weeks later, my pension card is safe, my dignity is restored, and every time I walk into the bank, the employees smile and ask how I'm doing, reminding me that kindness builds connections that last. Samantha still sends occasional apology messages, long, emotional, overly decorated texts about how she didn't mean it. But actions speak louder than words, and trust lost is not easily regained. My life is peaceful again, my mornings are calm, my finances are mine. And as I sit on my porch watching the sunset paint the sky, I remind myself of something important. Growing old doesn't mean giving up control of your life, your choices, or your dignity sometimes. It simply means remembering the strength you've always had and using it when it matters most.